Hey everybody, I'm back again, and I kind of Quentin Tarantino'd this. I uploaded my second run first, and I'm uploading the blind run, which is this one, second. Not really sure why I did it that way, but is what it is. What's done is done. Let's move on. This is the team that I had been saying for a long time that I wanted to bring to Tier 20, and it did not disappoint. They did very, very well. In particular, Krile. She can do some cool stuff with that, yeah, I mentioned this before. With her LD, she puts a trap on the enemies. When that trap explodes, they get paralyzed. While they're paralyzed, if you just drop the trap on them again, they will be stuck in a paralysis state. So if they're stunned already and they have the trap, when their turn comes up, the stun will go away, the trap will go off, and they'll be stunned again. It's pretty cool. Which that really makes me excited to... Well, this is for one of many reasons. It makes me excited to run the new and improved Krile with Cloud, with the burst, because not only can you get even more stun shenanigans off, but Krile hooks Cloud up in his burst like something fierce. It's pretty awesome. You can get launches with every turn, and if you have that regeneration coming from Krile's overhead buff, which we just spammed out of, but you know what I'm trying to say, it works wonders. Especially against two targets. Very good. Now, just like the first video I uploaded, the name of the game here is to not let this thing get a turn. Because, first of all, we might just be dead if he does. Because, again, no tank. But I don't want to deal with the ads a second time. No thank you. Not interested. Speaking of tanks, I feel like I need to elaborate a little bit from what I said last time. Where to begin? Okay, there's a few things I want to clear up. First of all, I'm not blaming any one person or any group of individuals or like any particular segment. Like, I'm not saying, oh, JP players, it's all you. I'm not trying to be like that. I'm not trying to lay it at anyone's feet in particular. The misinformation that was out there that you quote unquote need a tank for this stage. I don't think it was any one person who just started that. I think it was just something that that's just kind of how lies happen sometimes. When it's not, it doesn't have to be malicious. It's just a bunch of people believe something that isn't true, but if it gets repeated enough, it becomes true in the minds of way too many people. So that's all I'm trying to say about that. I'm also not trying to say that everyone's been deceived and I'm the one person who figured it out. I'm not even trying to be like that at all. Like, really, all I was trying to get at was, you can think for yourself, you can experiment with different comps and figure out other stuff that works. I have not seen a single instance in this stage where one template just worked, where it's a, you need insert character type here, because this game is full of different options that you can mix together and make something great. I'm also not trying to say that anyone who brings a tank here is like inferior to me in my playstyle. I'm not. No. Not trying to say any of that. So just want to make that clear. It's not really about ego. It was just one of those things that maybe it shouldn't have baffled me, but it did. Because it was like a whole year where it was, you need a tank. It's that word need that bothers me. Because you don't. In fact, this comp right here, another reason why the reaction of mine when I originally got to the stage was so strong was because for the past year, I've been saying I wanted to use this comp for this stage. And whenever I would tell people about it, I always got the same response. No tank? I'm like, no, I don't think you need one. And then I was very often met with very dismissive remarks. Like, oh, well, hey, it's your funeral. Okay, let me know how that goes. Stuff like that. So, fast forward to now, and I have two tankless comps. Yes, I understand both of them have lightning. I know, that's a whole other thing. But you see what I'm getting at, right? I mean, it isn't quote-unquote needed. But if you want to bring one, if you're more comfortable bringing one, go for it. It's entirely up to you. There's many different ways to get this stage done, like I keep saying. One problem with this setup is it does kind of leave lightning to do pretty much all of the damage. So she ends up getting pretty spent by the end of this. But it's not really much of a problem because this is just a nice setup. I just really like it. Everybody's cat brave basically all the time. Krile hooks up lightning nice in her burst. It's cool. I'm a big fan of it. Penelo's making everybody faster with that haste, like she always does. All of them are already fast anyway. Especially lightning, of course. Okay, here we go. Start off with the busted Jack debuff. Trying to remember, that was a cool run I saw from Alph Leveler. I'm probably saying that totally wrong, but if you don't know who he is, go subscribe. He does some really cool runs. He's great. And I don't remember his whole team. Now it's gonna bug me, but I know he used Guy, and he brought Alice. He's the only person I saw bring Alice to this, and it worked out really well. I'm sorry, dude, I do not remember your third character, but go check out Alph Leveler. It's in the name. That guy brings Alphanod to all kinds of stages, like a bunch of Lufinias, all kinds of stuff. Brings Alice a lot. Even Y'shtola. And I'm not talking like Burst Plus Y'shtola. I mean the Y'shtola we have now on Global. He does a lot of interesting stuff with some of his favorites. And it's pretty cool. So go check him out if you don't know who he is. Now, I know I wasn't sure when I mentioned about the trap stun trick. I wasn't sure if it would work because on this run in particular, I wasn't sure if this thing would just cleanse the debuffs whenever it revived itself. So I wanted to be sure of that. So I'm like, okay, we'll just take this hit just to see. So it'll swing at us. That hurt. Kaboom! You're stunned. So moment of truth. He does not cleanse any debuffs. So he is still stunned. Meaning, if we were to reapply this, which we're going to do now, he is stun locked for this turn and his next turn. Whenever those may be, if ever. Because we got lightning and Penelo shenanigans. This does, for obvious reasons, bring me back to the Black and Will raid. That's the first time I remember hearing this music, and it ended up being the Dimensions End music. This was one of my favorite original tracks from Dissidia, because if you've watched this channel long enough and heard me complain about a lot of the music, it excludes this track. I like this one. Granted, I know they used it in every Dimensions End, but I remember, yeah, this brings me back to Black and Will raid in the Cosmos era, where me and a lot of the Dystopia guys were just doing that raid constantly and trying different comps and just doing all kinds of fun stuff. Brings me back to when Swifty and I duoed it back in the day with, he used Ace and I used Aerith. No, we did not make the score requirements, but it wasn't really about that. It was more so about just trying to stay alive, and it worked. Tons of fun. That's back when Aerith was even more turn inefficient than she is now. She got it done though, so go Aerith. That's an LD I'm definitely going to go for. The Aerith LD, it's nice. And she's FF7, like I kind of have to. It's one of my faves, along with 9. So I got to do it. So I have not been keeping track. I think this is the second life here. Well, now this will be the third. Yeah. Yeah, in this phase, if he breaks you, someone dies. But he's stunned and then stunned again, so that's not going to happen. There's also, I don't know enough about it, But there is, Vincent can do some cool stuff here with the initial Brave. I guess he can just kind of, he can nerf this thing like nobody's business, which isn't surprising because it's Vincent. That's just what he does. Should I talk more about Vincent, or would that be controversial? It might be, but I don't really care that much. I know a lot of people are disappointed, and a lot of those concerns are valid. Like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, you're all just babies. No, I'm not trying to be like that. Because, yeah, a lot of the concerns are valid. I personally, I like Vincent. And I don't just mean as a character. I mean his kit. Like, I do like it. Yeah, he's got his problems. And moving forward, he might run into some problems. Maybe the timing of his release was a little off. The fact that it was on Valentine's Day was like, oh, hey, cool. He's back. On Valentine's Day, Vincent Valentine. Oh, yay. You know, it was like that. Just really, really fast releasing him, because nobody knew about it until like the day of, or maybe the night before. I don't remember, but it was like really, really short notice. But I don't know, people are mad, they're disappointed, and I guess I can't really blame them. And I don't want to sit here and, because before I was kind of saying like, well, that's because of Aranea, and to an extent I think that's true, but I don't think that covers the full scope of it. Because who was it? Black Nero. If you haven't seen his rant, go watch it. It's actually pretty good, and it had me consider some things that I hadn't really thought about before after I watched it. If I'm being honest, because at first I was kind of like when I first heard people complaining about it, I was kind of on the side of like, you know, that seems kind of ridiculous. But then he really laid some stuff out, and I'm like, okay, you know what? Some of this stuff is just undeniable. Like, I don't agree with every single point of it. I'm not trying to like pretend like I'm 100% in lockstep with what he thinks. He makes a lot of good points. I definitely agree with most of it, but there's a couple things where I'm like, okay, well, I guess we'll wait and see what happens. Because he even said, like, I would love to be proven wrong. Like, maybe some people moving forward can do some stuff with Vincent, and he'll be more viable than I thought he was. The way he laid it out, that doesn't seem to be the case. But it would be great if that were the case. I don't know. But I could see why people would be mad if they spent, like, all of their gems on something that they thought was going to, like, break the lid of the game wide open. Because that's what a lot of global firsts have done. And he's not going to do that. Like, they didn't make him quote-unquote OP enough to live up to the standard that we've come to expect for global firsts. So there's that. And I think Josh of Square Enix made it worse on himself when he basically said, don't temper your expectations. Which, to me, is like the worst thing you could do, is to just intentionally hype people up to the point where they're expecting something so amazing, and then you're just setting yourself up to let everyone down if you do that. Which is unfortunate. I mean, I'm sure they made a lot of money, so good for them, but there are ways that they probably could have gone about it better. I didn't like the ambush aspect of it either. Because it was like, hey, here's this shaky camera little trailer. Here's a real quick release where no one can really get much time to see what he's gonna do, and it's alright, now pull. So yeah, it was well played, Square, I guess. And I even said, I don't know if I said this in videos, but Vincent would not be my first choice to bring into a lot of stuff. And that's just for me personally. I mean, he complements a certain playstyle that is fun and all, but like it's not generally my thing. I just wanted it because it was an exclusive and it was something new. And luckily it was cheap. I'd probably be angrier if I had to spend like all of my stuff for it. That's enough about Vincent. We're about to kill this thing. Back to Dimensions End. Now that this is over, we're actually closing this out here. I want to know... Okay, I guess the question will be twofold. I want to know your favorite Dimensions End memory. For some people are going to be like, what do you mean favorite? I hated this the whole time. But you know what I mean. What was your favorite Dimensions End memory?
whether it be a tier, a solo, a character you didn't think would work but ended up working, whatever it may be. And what was your most like pulling your hair out moment in Dimensions End? Like the thing that got you just, you had to retry a bunch of times, it drove you crazy and you were so happy to finally beat it. Hell, maybe those two moments are one and the same, but I'm curious what people thought of it. I'm ready for Transcendence. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think that Chaos difficulty, it's really time for it to just kind of, you know, get kicked to the curb. We've been in Lufenia for long enough. Oh, hey, there's the train, of course. The train always makes an appearance in my videos, right at the end. Yeah, it's all her skills. And there you have it. Okay, so yeah, that was my first comp. It did not disappoint. Might run some other stuff too, but we'll see. Either way, I hope you guys enjoyed, and thank you for watching.